From 1963 to today, the history of the WWE World Championship has been marked by ups and downs, decisions that defied logic, and reigns that captivated fans. In today's video, we will rank all WWE champions from worst to best, and of course, find out who is the best and the worst of all time. But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the amazing videos we'll be releasing. Number 55, Rey Mysterio. Rey, we're sorry. Yes, despite being one of the most innovative and respected wrestlers of all time, Rey Mysterio ends up with a wooden spoon here. The worst part? It wasn't even his fault. Mysterio's solo reign lasted less than a single episode of Raw. And while Raw episodes can feel endless, in reality, it's not that much time in the grand scheme of things. When CM Punk left for Chicago with WWE's biggest prize, a tournament was held on Raw to crown a new champion. Although Rey had won a world title before, he had never been WWE Champion in his entire career. That changed in the tournament final, where he defeated The Miz, and the kids cheered. But then, a freshly rejuvenated John Cena received a title shot that very same night and crushed Rey's dreams quite simply. The kids kept cheering, because if there's one thing kids love more than Rey Mysterio, it's Big Match John. Number 54, Vince McMahon. In 1983, the famous movie Scarface featured the iconic line,
"Get high on your own supply."
WWE's equivalent happened in 1999 when Vince McMahon won the title of his own company on an episode of SmackDown. While things didn't go as poorly for him as they did for Tony Montana, it was still a low point in the title's lineage. Despite participating in some oddly entertaining matches over the years, and being the father of the world's best wrestler, it's still strange to see the boss's name among so many greats. Two things keep Vince's reign from ranking at the very bottom. First, he didn't overcome anyone to get the title. Steve Austin, as usual, was causing a bit of trouble and decided it'd be funny to crash Vince's match and help him beat Triple H. It was actually a bit funny. Second, Vince's reign lasted only until the following Monday, when he returned the title on Raw, giving an emotional speech about a knee injury and that he'd lost his smile. Oh no, that was someone else. We'll get to that later. Number 53, Andre the Giant. Like Rey, it feels wrong to rank a legendary name so low on this list. Sadly, like Rey, Andre's reign lasted less than a day. In February 1988, Andre avenged his WrestleMania 3 loss by defeating Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship. He then attempted to immediately sell the title to Ted DiBiase, but the transaction was nullified by President Jack Tunney. Besides disrespecting the title by trying to cash in on it, Andre's victory was also somewhat questionable. As a literal giant who could crush skulls with his massive hands, Andre wasn't going to defeat Hogan cleanly. It was far more likely that Hogan would demand a controversial finish, or even use an evil twin referee, or simply kick out at 2, or maybe all 3. And that's exactly what happened. 52. Kane. In 2010, at 43 years old, Kane finally captured the World Heavyweight Championship, the Golden Belt. Not the one we're discussing here. It was a relief to see a loyal veteran rewarded after so many years of hard work. But it was also a big relief because his reign with the other world title was, frankly, quite embarrassing. Kane held the WWF Championship only once, and for just a single day, in 1998, when he faced Stone Cold at King of the Ring. The stipulation was that if he didn't win the title, he'd set himself on fire. He announced this with his voice box machine, which sounded sinister and cool, but also a bit ridiculous. In fact, everyone thought, wait, we can't actually have one of our wrestlers set themselves on fire. So, to avoid serious injury, Kane won the title from Austin, but lost it back the following night on Raw. And that's the story of Kane's one-day reign. 51. Stan Stasiak. Back in the day, wrestling frequently used transitional champions to pass the title from one popular babyface to another. A heel would score an easy victory over the champion, only to lose soon after to the new guy. We still see transitional champions today, but the complexities of modern storytelling help to mask it, unless your name is Nicholas. One of WWE's earliest transitional champions was Stan Stasiak, a Canadian heel and father of Shawn Stasiak. Stan held the WWF title for 9 days in 1973. He won it from Pedro Morales after a belly-to-belly suplex, but lifted his shoulder at the last second. Footage of this title change is quite rare, so here's a photo of Stan looking like a classic villain. His signature move was the heart punch, where he'd actually punch people in the heart. Despite a modest reign, we think it's a pretty cool story. Stan found out he'd be winning the title in the locker room on the day of the match, and never imagined he'd be crowned champion. That's endearing. 50. Jinder Mahal. This one's pretty recent, though we're trying to forget it. Jinder Mahal's WWE Championship reign will always be remembered. His rise from the mid-card to the top is a true testament to Jinder's hard work and dedication. But with that said, there's no denying the confusion and disappointment that surrounded his reign. In case you forgot, Jinder won the title at Backlash 2017, defeating Randy Orton after a distraction from the Singh brothers. Things couldn't get any worse until the great Khali returned to help him win a Punjabi prison match at Battleground. After a long and interesting summer, Mahal finally lost the title to AJ Styles in November. This was the only time a WWE Championship changed hands outside North America, as the show was held in Manchester, England. Another fun fact, Jinder is the only member of 3MB with WWE title reign to this day. 49. Sergeant Slaughter. Remember when we talked about how transitional champions have always existed, but storylines can distract us? Let's look at perhaps the most distracting storyline in title history. Inspired by Iraq's invasion of Kuwait, WWE decided to turn Sergeant Slaughter into a villain, making him an Iraq sympathizer. It's worth noting that Slaughter was uncomfortable with the character, and it was a bit politically insensitive. Slaughter won the title from the Ultimate Warrior at Royal Rumble 1991, only to lose it to Hulk Hogan a few months later at WrestleMania. If you thought an Iraq sympathizer would defeat Hulk Hogan, you've clearly never watched wrestling. 48. Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt began his WWE journey with one of the most original and exciting gimmicks, leading a mystical cult from a swamp, which quickly captivated the audience. However, his real success was always limited. Although he was one of the most intriguing characters, his career faced difficulties in matches against figures like John Cena or The Undertaker, where he was convincingly defeated. When Wyatt finally captured the WWE Championship by defeating AJ Styles at the 2017 Elimination Chamber, it seemed like the beginning of a new era. However, his story took an unexpected turn. His partnership with Randy Orton was promising, but Orton dramatically betrayed Wyatt by burning down his house and taking his title at WrestleMania, turning what should have been a moment of redemption into a tragic joke for the Eater of Worlds. Number 47. Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam had one of the most electrifying moments in recent WWE history when he defeated John Cena at One Night Stand 2006 in the fervent ECW environment. This triumph seemed to promise great things for RVD, including the WWE Championship, as well as the ECW title handed to him by Paul Heyman. However, his rise was marked by a rapid decline. After being arrested for drug possession alongside Sabu, Van Dam lost both titles in a short time and was suspended for 30 days. This incident interrupted his career and his chance to solidify his status as a top star in WWE, making his reign one of the greatest examples of wasted potential. Number 46. Yokozuna. Yokozuna had a reign that, at first glance, seemed like a great achievement, as he held the WWF Championship for 280 days. However, his journey as champion was marked by infamous and poorly constructed moments. After defeating Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9, Yokozuna's victory was overshadowed by Hulk Hogan, who quickly defeated him in just 22 seconds. In his second reign, Yokozuna regained the title from Hogan, but the way it happened, with a betrayal disguised as a photographer, only deepened the perception that the company didn't fully believe in his potential as champion. Although he did defeat The Undertaker at one point, Yokozuna's reign was filled with losses and moments that didn't help solidify his legacy. Number 45. Diesel. Diesel had a reign of nearly a year, but his time as WWE Champion was filled with flaws. Kevin Nash was cast to be the biggest and strongest in the company, but his reign was filled with lackluster matches and uninteresting feuds. His victory over Bob Backlund, where he defeated the former champion in 8 seconds, was one of the highlights, but his title defenses, such as the lackluster match at WrestleMania against Shawn Michaels and his feud with Sid, were marked by a lack of fan interest. When he finally lost the title to Bret Hart at Survivor Series, it was clear that despite his long reign, Diesel was never fully convincing as a champion. Number 44. JBL. In 2004, John Bradshaw Layfield reinvented himself from a rough wrestler to a Wall Street magnate. But this gimmick change, though intriguing, was not well received. When JBL captured the WWE Championship, the problems began. His reign was marked by lackluster matches and victories based more on cheating and luck than actual skill. He defeated The Undertaker by disqualification, beat Booker T with a belt shot, and had several matches where the victory was always due to external interference, such as with Heidenreich. JBL's reign lacked the energy or fun that a good SmackDown villain should have, and his champion status became more of a symbol of the audience's lack of interest in his character. Number 43, Alberto Del Rio. From the start, WWE seemed to have big plans for Alberto Del Rio as a villainous champion. He made a promising debut, winning the 2011 Royal Rumble and then the Money in the Bank match, securing the contract to challenge the champion at any time. However, the timing of his title rise couldn't have been worse, as WWE was in the midst of one of the most intense rivalries of the era between John Cena and CM Punk. The feud between the two captured the fans' attention so strongly, yet the company decided to add Del Rio into the mix, which made the audience less interested in his involvement in it. He won the title at SummerSlam after a cash-in, but lost to Cena shortly after. He regained the belt, but ended up losing it to CM Punk at Survivor Series. Although his skills weren't bad, his reigns were seen as poorly timed. Number 42, Sheamus. Sheamus is one of those curious cases. He won the WWE Championship 3 times, more than some of wrestling's biggest names. But what stands out is that his title wins didn't seem to be fully earned, but more a matter of luck. He defeated John Cena in a tables match at TLC 2009, and there are rumors that Cena was originally supposed to win. In his second reign, he gained the title due to interference from Nexus, and his third came when Seth Rollins was unexpectedly injured during a non-televised show in Dublin, Sheamus' hometown. With these elements of luck in his reigns, many fans felt that he was given title chances without truly earning them the way other champions did. Number 41, The Miz. Today, Miz is one of the fan favorites, but in 2010, his WWE Championship win was met with mixed reactions. He captured the title by cashing in on Randy Orton the night after Survivor Series, but his reign was marked by storylines that portrayed him as a weak champion. Even so, he gave it his all to make his reign entertaining, though it wasn't very convincing. On one occasion, he almost lost to Jerry Lawler, but it was saved by Michael Cole. At WrestleMania, he ended up being overshadowed by The Rock's presence. Despite this, Miz managed to make the most of his time as champion. Many believe he deserved another shot, but that hasn't happened so far. Number 40, Big Show. It's a fact that Big Show is enormous and commands respect, but during his 2 reigns as WWE Champion, he was never the main attraction. In 1999, he won the title at Survivor Series as a substitute for Stone Cold, who had been run over. The plot became even more complicated when it was revealed that the mastermind behind the crime was Triple H. In his second reign, Show defeated Brock Lesnar in 2002. With Paul Heyman's help, these reigns were short and mainly helped advance storylines, without allowing Show to truly shine as champion. Number 39, Psycho Sid. Sid had the build and appearance of an imposing champion, but he never seemed to have the same star power as the big names around him, like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, and The Undertaker. Sid's first reign had an interesting story, as he defeated Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series 1996 after attacking Michaels' manager, Jose Lothario, with a camera. He lost the title to Shawn at the Royal Rumble after being hit with the same camera. In his second reign, Sid won the title after a Stone Cold interference prevented Bret Hart from leaving as champion. Sid wasn't the main focus of this story, but he made history as the first to win the title on an episode of Raw. 38, Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is an icon in WWE, beloved by fans for his unique look and his bravery in taking risks with spectacular high-flying moves. Throughout most of his career, he didn't have many opportunities to become a world champion, but when he finally won the title, it was like a dream come true for him and the audience. Jeff won the WWE Championship in a triple threat match against Triple H and Edge at Armageddon 2008. His reign lasted only 42 days, but it was very special as fans saw him as the chosen one, someone who represented balance and authenticity. However, this moment of glory was unexpectedly interrupted when he lost the title at the Royal Rumble after a shocking betrayal. His brother, Matt Hardy, interfered in the match and attacked him with a steel chair, helping Edge win. Instead of dealing with the true villain of the situation, Matt chose to attack his own brother, making it clear that his priorities were seriously confused. 37. Buddy Rogers. Buddy Rogers, the original Nature Boy, was the first world champion in WWE history. He was a huge star, full of charisma, and with a unique style that shone on television, which was just beginning to broadcast wrestling to the public. Despite its significance, Rogers' reign as champion was extremely short, lasting only 22 days. This was because Vince McMahon Sr., dissatisfied with the direction of the NWA, decided to break away from the alliance and create the WWF in 1963, declaring Rogers the first champion. Unfortunately, his reign ended abruptly when Rogers suffered a heart attack, compromising his health and forcing him to relinquish the title to Bruno Sammartino in a match that lasted less than a minute. Despite Rogers' historical importance, his reign began in an unusual way, being announced after a fictional tournament in Brazil, a small exaggeration to add more shine to the achievement. 36. Batista. Batista, known as The Animal, is one of WWE's big names, but his time as WWE Champion was interrupted by an untimely injury. He won the title by defeating Randy Orton in a cage match at Extreme Rules 2009, but the following day, he was forced to vacate the title after suffering a biceps tear. After recovering, Batista returned as a villain on SmackDown and became involved in intense rivalries, including an alliance with Vince McMahon against Bret Hart. This period brought one of the most controversial moments of his career. After John Cena survived a brutal match at the Elimination Chamber, Batista entered and quickly defeated Cena to claim the title. He soon lost the title back to Cena at WrestleMania, but his short reign was memorable. In the end, Batista is more remembered for his 4 reigns as World Heavyweight Champion, and of course, for his successful Hollywood career. Number 35, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose's reign as champion in 2016 began with excitement, but soon lost its luster. The exact reason isn't clear, but it's almost certain that the best wrestler in the world, Shane McMahon, had something to do with it. Let me explain. Ambrose was riding high after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, where he won and cashed in the briefcase on the same night, defeating Seth Rollins, avenging the Shield's end, and winning the WWE Championship for the first time. Everything was going well, and fans were happy until Shane McMahon became the commissioner of SmackDown and recruited Ambrose first, turning the next triple threat match involving the Shield into a battle of wits, over which brand would hold the title. Even though Ambrose won that match, his victory ended up being seen as Shane's win, and things started to go downhill. He eventually lost the title to AJ Styles at Backlash when the Phenomenal One delivered a low blow. After all that work to become WWE Champion, this must have been a hard blow, but that's too easy of a joke. Number 34, Ivan Koloff. Ivan Koloff was another example of an old school transitional champion. So why is he ranked so much higher than Stan Stasiak? Simple. Koloff was responsible for one of the most famous title changes in wrestling history. He defeated the legendary Bruno Sammartino with a knee strike from the ropes, leaving the Madison Square Garden audience in complete silence. It was like that Game of Thrones scene where all the heroes are stabbed, even though several seasons are still missing. That was a real heel move. Koloff etched his name into WWE history, even though he held the title for only 3 weeks, being the 3rd champion of the WWF. He didn't even receive the belt after the match due to fears of a potential riot. Now that's what we call real heel heat. Number 33, the Iron Sheik. These days, the Iron Sheik is more known for being a mix of his father and social media, but he was also one of the most beloved heels of the Golden Era. Despite his iconic status, he only had the WWF title once, but what a crucial reign. When Vince Jr. took over from Vince Sr. in the 80s, he knew who he wanted as the company's new face. To kick off this new era, he needed to take the title from Bob Backlund and hand it over to the next big star, Uncle Elmer. If that had happened, Elmer Mania would have been born. But it was actually Hulk Hogan. It's said that Backlund refused to lose the title to Hogan, stating that he would only lose it to someone with amateur wrestling credentials like him. That's when the Iron Sheik came into play, defeating Backlund in December 1983. Even though he held the title for only a month, he faced names like Tito Santana, Pat Patterson, and Chief Jay Strongbow. Eventually, he met the Hulkster at Madison Square Garden, where Hogan broke out of his camel clutch, delivered an immortal leg drop, and began a spectacular new era. Number 32, Chris Jericho. Y2J is practically synonymous with title success, having won the Big Gold Belt 5 times, the Intercontinental title 9 times, and the tag titles 5 times. But despite being one of the most intelligent and charismatic wrestlers of all time, Jericho only had one reign as WWF Champion. It's true that it was an important reign, but it ended in one of the most disappointing rivalries in WrestleMania history. Let's start at the beginning. At the Vengeance event in 2001, Jericho surprisingly defeated The Rock and Steve Austin on the same night to unify the WCW and WWF titles, becoming the first undisputed champion. It was expected that this victory would push him to new heights, but he ended up facing the game. Jericho entered a rivalry with Triple H heading into WrestleMania 18, being humiliated and ridiculed almost every week. He teamed up with his former rival, Stephanie McMahon, and the rivalry became as much about her as it was about the undisputed champion. Even Triple H's dog, Lucy, got involved in the story, which, remember, was heading toward the main event at WrestleMania. Jericho lost the final match, but I guess I didn't even need to tell you that. Number 31, Mankind. After Austin defeated Michaels at WrestleMania and the Attitude Era truly took off, everything started to feel like one of those Dynasty Warriors levels, a continuous frenzy, with people colliding all the time. No one was safe, including the WWF Champion, who couldn't hold on to the title for long during the 90s, especially in Mick Foley's case, who reigned for a total of 36 days combined, barely a month. So why is Mankind ranked 26th? His brief title reign included some of the most memorable moments of the Monday Night Wars. The news of his pre-taped victory caused Tony Schiavone and Eric Bischoff's suggestion to sarcastically say, "That'll put some butts in seats," live on Nitro, prompting 600,000 people to switch over to Raw to watch. Even though Mankind didn't do much beyond allowing Austin to drag his exhausted body over The Rock, it was still an iconic moment. Foley lost the title soon after to The Rock in a brutal I Quit match, famous for the chair shots. He regained the title in a match in an empty arena during the Super Bowl halftime, which, ironically, featured fewer chair shots, despite being in an arena full of empty chairs. He also served as a transitional champion when he won the title at SummerSlam 1999 and lost it the very next night on Raw amid rumors that Stone Cold didn't want to lose to Triple H. Who does the rattlesnake think he is, Bob Backlund? We'll explain more later. Number 30, The Ultimate Warrior. What the Ultimate Warrior lacked in technical skill, he made up for it with size and enthusiasm. He was the perfect example of an 80s wrestler with face paint, fringe, and uncontrollable energy. He connected so well with the fans that in 1990, he not only won the WWF Championship, but did so by defeating Hulk Hogan cleanly. Okay, it's true that Hogan's shoulder was up the moment the referee counted 3. And yes, Hogan did end up stealing some of the spotlight from Warrior later on, but there's no denying the magnitude of that victory. Unfortunately, the rest of Warrior's reign wasn't as explosive as its beginning, but he held on to the title for almost 300 days. Taking all this into account, he ranks as the ultimate average champion in WWE. Number 29, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, hailed by many as the face of WWE, has had a career full of twists and turns when it comes to titles. Although WWE has been criticized for forcing his dominant presence, his first WWE Championship reign was one of the shortest in history, lasting only 118 days. His first win came at Survivor Series, but shortly after, Sheamus cashed in and defeated Reigns, leaving him lying in the confetti. After that, Reigns defeated Sheamus and in an epic moment, punched Vince McMahon. His second reign was also brief, losing the title to Triple H at the Royal Rumble. Roman got his revenge by defeating him at WrestleMania 32, but was once again interrupted at Money in the Bank when Seth Rollins caused his loss. Despite the short reigns, these moments were impactful, including an epic rivalry with AJ Styles. Number 28, Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero is remembered as one of WWE's most charismatic champions, even though his reign was short-lived. He won the World Championship by defeating Brock Lesnar at No Way Out 2004 in a surprising turn of events that involved Goldberg's interference. Eddie defended his title in memorable matches, like against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania, where he brilliantly escaped the ankle lock and against JBL in a bloody battle that went down in history. His reign was brief, but Eddie left his mark as one of the greatest of all time. He only had one reign, but it was an unforgettable period for fans. Number 27, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins always believed he would be the member of the Shield to shine the most, and he proved himself right in an impressive way. His cash-in at WrestleMania 31 is considered one of the most dramatic moments in the event's history when he capitalized on the match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns to win the WWE Championship. Although he won the title twice, his reigns were a mix of highs and lows. Rollins became a dual champion by defeating John Cena, but he was aided by TV comedian Jon Stewart, which took some shine off the victory. His reign ended suddenly when he suffered a knee injury, but he made history on an epic night when all members of the Shield held titles at the same time. Number 26, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, one of the greatest babyfaces in WWE history, had memorable reigns, but many of them didn't last long. His most iconic achievement came at WrestleMania 30, when he won the WWE Championship in a moment of pure euphoria for the fans. But before that, Bryan had already won the title twice, although his earlier reigns were brief and troubled. At SummerSlam 2013, Bryan defeated John Cena but was sabotaged by Triple H and Randy Orton before he could even defend his title. Later, at Night of Champions, the title was vacated again due to interference from the Authority. Despite all the challenges and short reigns, Daniel Bryan is remembered as one of the most popular champions in WWE history. Number 25, The Undertaker. The Undertaker is a WWE legend, but his WWE Championship reigns weren't as impactful as his overall career. His 4 reigns were overshadowed by other events. The first occurred at Survivor Series 1991, when he defeated Hulk Hogan, but lost the title quickly to him after a trick involving ashes from the urn. His second reign, during WrestleMania 13, was overshadowed by the match between Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was meant to be the main event. The third reign came during the corporate ministry phase, a chaotic period filled with confusing elements. The Undertaker's final reign, perhaps the most respected, came after he defeated Hulk Hogan with a chokeslam, but even so, his reigns never stood out individually. Despite this, The Undertaker earned the respect of the audience for his consistency and legacy, especially with his incredible undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Number 24, Ric Flair. Ric Flair is not exactly the first name associated with the WWE Championship, especially considering his status as a multi-promotion champion, with 9 NWA titles and 8 WCW titles. However, when Flair entered WWE, he made history by winning the WWF Championship twice. His greatest achievement was winning the 1992 Royal Rumble, an event widely regarded as the best Rumble of all time. During his time in WWE, he also had an unforgettable rivalry with Randy Macho Man Savage, marked by jealousy involving Elizabeth and some of the best heel promos of Flair's career. Although he's not most remembered for his reign in WWE, he created magical moments with the title before passing it to Bret Hart and moving on to WCW in 1993. Number 23, Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is undoubtedly one of the greatest names in WWE history, but his 3 reigns as world champion were marked by turbulent moments. The first, one at WrestleMania 12, was iconic, but soon tainted by the curtain call, a moment when Shawn and other members of the Clique broke the fourth wall, angering many fans. His second reign was overshadowed by the famous loss of smile, when he stepped away from the title due to a knee injury, or as many speculate, because he didn't want to lose to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. The third reign started with the infamous Montreal Screwjob, and ended with the loss to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14, following a series of great matches and his first retirement. Despite the highs and lows, HBK is considered a legend whose skills surpassed any title he held. Number 22, Big E. After winning the coveted Money in the Bank briefcase at the July event, Big E faced a series of challenges, including the theft of his briefcase by Baron Corbin, which he reclaimed after a victory during the SummerSlam pre-show. On September 13th, he surprised fans by announcing that he would cash in his briefcase that very night on Raw, where Bobby Lashley had just defended the title against Randy Orton. Big E defeated Lashley to become WWE Champion for the first time in his career, celebrating alongside his New Day teammates in a moment that thrilled the WWE Universe. During his 110-day reign, Big E defended the title against formidable opponents, including Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, showcasing his strength and versatility in the ring. However, challenges kept arising, such as the addition of Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and later Brock Lesnar to the title match at the Day 1 event, where Big E ultimately lost the championship after being defeated by Lesnar. Number 21, Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund is an interesting figure in WWE history, known for his long reign of almost 6 years as world champion, a period that cemented him as one of the company's greatest champions. His rivalry with other champions like Harley Race, Nick Bockwinkel, and Jimmy Snuka marked his journey. But the most interesting story is when he lost the title to the Iron Sheik and later lost to Antonio Inoki, who unofficially became champion in Japan. Backlund also became famous for being the first champion to divide opinions, with his optimistic babyface behavior, which led fans to grow tired of him, earning him the title of Most Overrated Wrestler of 1983 by Observer magazine. His return to the title in 1994, at the age of 45, was a surprise when he defeated Bret Hart, only to lose the belt quickly to Diesel in a 3-day reign. Number 20, Superstar Billy Graham. Superstar Billy Graham was a true pioneer in wrestling and transformed the WWF Championship by becoming the first dominant heel champion in the company's history. With his impressive physique and charisma, he inspired figures like Hulk Hogan, Triple H, and Jesse Ventura. Alongside his manager, the Grand Wizard, Graham defended his title with a series of memorable victories, including confrontations against legends like Dusty Rhodes, Don Muraco, and Ricky Choshu. His reign of nearly a year was marked by arrogance and dominance, but it ended abruptly when he had a disagreement with Vince McMahon Sr. over changing his character to a babyface. Vince refused, and Billy Graham was soon removed from the WWF, but his impact and legacy in wrestling remained strong, shaping future generations. Number 19, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle had a series of solid and memorable reigns with the WWE Championship, but his career at the top of the company was marked by moments of brilliance and epic victories, rather than controversies. His reigns were characterized by his unbeatable technical ability, facing major stars like Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar. One of the most iconic moments was when he defeated Austin once through his hometown, creating one of the most emotional victories in WWE history. Additionally, his final reign was a milestone, ending with a 60-minute Iron Man match against Lesnar, often remembered as one of the best TV matches in WWE history. However, if Angle had received a longer reign, he would likely have secured a spot in our top 10. Number 18, Edge. Edge had a career defined by his ability to seize opportunities and create memorable moments with the WWE Championship. His most famous achievement was the first Money in the Bank contract cash-in at the perfect moment following an exhausting Elimination Chamber match. But as the ultimate opportunist, Edge experienced several unexpected victories and losses. His reign with the title was abruptly interrupted in 2009 when Jeff Hardy quickly defeated him in a chamber match. Despite this, Edge remained relevant, capturing the big gold belt and continuing to make history. His victory celebration with Lita in the ring remains one of the most controversial and unforgettable moments of his career. Number 17, Kofi Kingston. After replacing Mustafa Ali in the Elimination Chamber due to an injury, Kingston surprised the audience with an impressive performance, sparking a wave of support known as Kofi Mania. Despite facing numerous obstacles imposed by Mr. McMahon, including defeats in handicap matches and multiple grueling gauntlet bouts, Kofi never gave up. Kingston's determination was rewarded when Big E and Xavier Woods won a decisive match, securing his title opportunity at WrestleMania 35. At the grand event, Kingston defeated Daniel Bryan in a memorable match, becoming the first WWE champion born in Africa and claiming his first world title in his career. During his 180-day reign, Kingston successfully defended the championship against top names like Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler, Samoa Joe, and Randy Orton, solidifying his status as one of the most popular champions in WWE's recent history. However, his reign ended abruptly on SmackDown in October when he lost the title to Brock Lesnar in just 10 seconds, concluding a reign that symbolized perseverance and representation in the sport. Number 16, Randy Savage. Randy Savage, also known as Macho Man, was one of the greatest legends of the WWE's golden era, and his reign as champion was a historic moment. He won the vacant title in the WrestleMania 4 tournament, defeating giants like Butch Reed and Ted DiBiase, but the greatest rivalry of his career began soon after, when Hulk Hogan tried to steal his moment of victory. This led to the birth of the famous Mega Powers rivalry, which captivated the fans. Although he lost to Hogan the first time he defended his title, Savage got his revenge in 1992 when he defeated Ric Flair in an epic battle at WrestleMania 8. Number 15, AJ Styles. AJ Styles is considered one of the best modern champions in WWE, but his reigns with the title were also marked by unusual moments, especially involving low blows. His first reign began dramatically after a low blow to Dean Ambrose at Backlash 2016, and he quickly became one of WWE's top stars after years of success in TNA and Japan. Despite some somewhat odd rivalries, such as with James Ellsworth, his reign culminated in an epic match against John Cena at the Royal Rumble 2017, which solidified his place at the top. His second reign lasted over a year and was equally thrilling, but ended controversially after a low blow from Shinsuke Nakamura and later a loss to Daniel Bryan. Despite the ups and downs, AJ Styles remains a central figure in WWE and WWE's history. Number 14, CM Punk. One of the most controversial and debated wrestlers in WWE history, had a reign as WWE Champion that truly changed the dynamic of modern wrestling. During his 434-day reign, he reintroduced the idea of a long and meaningful title run, but with an approach that catered to the style and preferences of the current audience. His journey as champion was not linear, with moments where he was both a hero, face, and a villain, a heel, depending on the circumstances. Punk's heel turn happened largely due to his frustration with feeling that his achievements were being overshadowed by figures like John Cena and Dwayne The Rock. However, his reign ended controversially and frustratingly when he lost the title to The Rock, in a match that left many fans disappointed. Nonetheless, Punk's legacy as champion was not defined solely by its ending, but by the intensity and quality of his rivalry with Cena, including a memorable match that many consider one of the best in WWE history. Number 13, Randy Orton. Randy Orton is undoubtedly one of the greatest champions in WWE history, but his impact on the audience didn't receive the same recognition as other legendary champions. With 9 reigns as WWE Champion, Orton is among the most successful champions in the company. But despite his skill and trajectory, he often went unnoticed in comparison to the impact other superstars had during their reigns. Orton had some brilliant moments, such as his victory at No Mercy 2007, where he won and lost the title in the same night, or his unification title win at TLC 2013. His versatility is one of his most notable characteristics. Orton could take on any role in the title picture, whether as a winner or loser. However, what's missing in Orton's career is a strong emotional connection with the audience, whether generating passionate reactions as a heel or beloved cheers as a face. While he has been a great champion, his career didn't generate as much buzz as other major WWE names. Number 12, Bobby Lashley. In 2021, Bobby Lashley achieved one of the most dominant victories of his career by defeating Goldberg in a WWE Championship match at SummerSlam in Las Vegas. From the moment Goldberg entered the ring, Lashley displayed complete confidence, keeping his eyes locked on the veteran and starting the battle with an imposing attitude. Although Goldberg managed to land a spear outside the ring, Lashley's dominance remained unshaken. After MVP intervened, striking Goldberg's knee with his cane, Lashley began to focus his attack on the challenger's injured knee, delivering 2 brutal assaults against the LED post. With Goldberg unable to get back on his feet, the referee declared him defeated. However, Lashley wasn't satisfied with just the declared win and continued to assault Goldberg with a steel chair, showcasing his power and humiliation. The brutality was so severe that Goldberg's son, Gage, rushed to the ring to defend his father, only to be captured by Lashley, who applied his iconic Hurt Lock on him. With this victory, Lashley solidified his status as champion, achieving the rare feat of retaining his title at both WrestleMania and SummerSlam in the same year. However, this victory came at a price, as Lashley sparked Goldberg's fury, who vowed revenge. Number 11, The Rock. The Rock is one of the most charismatic champions in WWE history, but his reigns with the WWE Championship were, for the most part, brief. With 8 reigns, The Rock accumulated a total of 378 days as champion, averaging only 47 days per reign. While these numbers might seem low, it's important to remember that he was one of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era and played a crucial role in the popularity of wrestling at the time. His first reign was marked by his transformation into a heel at Survivor Series 1998, when he became the corporate champion. Throughout his career, The Rock had memorable rivalries, such as the ones with Mick Foley and Triple H, and his famous confrontation with Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. While he didn't hold the title for long during his reigns, his rivalries, charisma, and the intensity of his matches were key in solidifying his place as one of the biggest stars in WWE history. Had he spent more time as champion and stayed away from the reign of Punk in 2013, he likely would have ranked among the top 4 on our list. Number 10. Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales is often remembered for his incredible rise in WWE, an achievement that few have been able to match. In less than 3 months after his arrival at the company, the Puerto Rican wrestler won the WWE World Championship, defeating Ivan Koloff at Madison Square Garden. This historic 3-year reign made Morales one of the most popular figures of the era, especially in the early 1970s. In addition to his world title, he also won the United States Championship in his first months in WWE, demonstrating his versatility and strength in the ring. During his reign, he had several notable rivalries with names such as Blackjack Mulligan, Freddie Blassie, and Blue Demon. His most famous defense took place in 1972 at Shea Stadium against Bruno Sammartino in an epic 75-minute match that ended in a draw. The match was considered one of the greatest in WWE history and became known as the match of the century. Unfortunately, Pedro Morales' reign came to an unexpected and anticlimactic end when he was defeated by Stan Stasiak, in the same way he had won the title 3 years earlier, with both wrestlers' shoulders on the mat. However, Stasiak managed to lift his shoulder in time to claim the title, ending Morales' reign quietly, but still historically. Number 9. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan is one of the most iconic figures in WWE and wrestling in general, and there is no doubt that his impact on the industry was immense. His first reign as WWE Champion, which began after his victory over the Iron Sheik in 1984, not only established Hulkamania as a cultural phenomenon, but also helped define what wrestling would be in the 1980s. During this period, Hogan had an impressive 4-year reign, similar to Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales, and continued to shine with historic matches such as his partnership with Mr. T and the famous match against Andre the Giant. However, his second reign was marked by some ups and downs. The victory over Randy Savage at WrestleMania 5 was a highlight, but the loss to Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6 generated controversy, and this is where the first signs of problems began to emerge. His rivalry with Sergeant Slaughter, the controversial loss at WrestleMania 9, and Hogan's egocentric behavior, refusing to put over other wrestlers, began to negatively affect his image. Additionally, in 1993, Hogan took the WWF title to Japan and made disrespectful comments, comparing the WWF Championship to a toy. These incidents tarnished Hogan's history as champion, despite his undeniable importance to WWE. Number 8. Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre entered WrestleMania 36 as a special competitor and emerged even more celebrated, defeating Brock Lesnar to capture the WWE Championship and fulfill a prophecy and potential that had been nearly 2 decades in the making. The pursuit of the title was akin to climbing a mountain, but McIntyre didn't just climb one, he climbed several. Even before facing Lesnar, a singular force and near constant title holder, McIntyre had already shown his resilience. Lesnar came into WrestleMania with overwhelming confidence, and right from the start of the match, the threat he posed was clear. After McIntyre connected with a Claymore, Lesnar recovered and unleashed 3 brutal F5S, each more vicious than the last. However, the same persistence that brought McIntyre back to WWE after overcoming numerous challenges kept him strong in the fight. He kicked out of all 3 F5S, which only frustrated Lesnar more as he saw his dominance being tested. When the Beast prepared for another F5, McIntyre mounted his final stand, hitting 3 consecutive Claymores and finally pinning Lesnar to fulfill the prophecy of being the chosen one. The victory was monumental, and as he raised the title, McIntyre couldn't hold back his tears. Holding the belt, He silently thanked the camera, acknowledging everyone who had supported him throughout his arduous journey. Though it wasn't the WrestleMania he had dreamed of, the accomplishment remained unchanged by the circumstances. He earned the title on his own merit, but he was not alone in his journey. Number 7, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is an example of how a WWE champion can be both dominant and controversial. Known for his physical strength and his ability to defeat opponents in grand fashion, Lesnar had a series of memorable reigns. Despite frequently being criticized for his absent champion persona, Lesnar always delivered high-level performances when he was present. He won the WWE Championship on several occasions and had epic rivalries with wrestlers such as Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, The Undertaker, and even Bob Holly. Lesnar stood out for winning major matches at WrestleMania 19 and 31, facing names like The Rock and John Cena, as well as his famous match against Kurt Angle. His ability to win titles in spectacular fashion, such as by defeating The Rock or dethroning Cena, places him among the most memorable champions of all time. While Lesnar has his flaws, such as the perception that he doesn't care about the title as much as other champions, he was undoubtedly one of the strongest and most successful champions in WWE, and his legacy as WWE Champion deserves recognition. Number 6, Triple H, known as The Game, is one of the most important champions in WWE history. His journey is marked by an unrelenting pursuit of the title, winning it no less than 9 times. If anyone embodies the concept of the final boss in wrestling, it's Triple H. Like any great final boss, he was immensely challenging, but defeating him always brought a sense of great achievement. His rivalry with The Rock was one of the greatest highlights of the 2000s, as their victories and clashes made the titles won by The Rock even more special. However, it wasn't always perfect for Triple H. There were times when his stance prevented other wrestlers from shining, such as with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 18 and Booker T at WrestleMania 19, where many felt the big title was within reach of these wrestlers, but it was Triple H who emerged victorious. Still, the significance of his reigns is undeniable. His early defenses, such as the brutally intense matches against Mick Foley at events like Royal Rumble and No Way Out, showed how seriously he took his champion status and his preparation to become a WWE legend. Number 5, John Cena. John Cena became a wrestling legend from the moment he defeated JBL at WrestleMania 21 to capture the WWE Championship. His journey began as the rebellious rapper from West Newbury, Massachusetts, and evolved into the Cena we all know today. The sober, friendly man, and a true ambassador for WWE. Throughout his career, Cena won the world title an impressive 14 times, making him one of the most polarizing figures in WWE history. Although he was criticized for stealing the spotlight from other wrestlers with his lengthy reigns, his impact cannot be ignored. Cena not only won, but also lost the title, and his career includes great moments, such as defeating legends like Triple H and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, his loss to Rob Van Dam at One Night Stand, and his epic match against Edge in Toronto, which became one of the greatest TLC matches in history. Additionally, his rivalry with CM Punk and his victory over AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble are just a few of the milestones that solidified Cena as a true legend, despite his controversies. And of course, we can't forget his iconic rivalry with Kevin Federline. Number 4, Cody Rhodes. On the historic night of WrestleMania 40, Roman Reigns further solidified his legacy as WWE's greatest champion by defending his undisputed Universal title against Cody Rhodes in an epic battle under Bloodline rules. The match was filled with dramatic and intense moments, with Rhodes trying to level the playing field by bringing weapons into the ring, but he was quickly thwarted by Reigns, who used the kendo stick to impose his dominance. The rivalry between the two quickly escalated, with major impactful moments such as Rhodes suplexing Reigns outside the ring and the devastating powerbomb from the champion. The match became a test of endurance, with both wrestlers trading blows and counterattacks, and Reigns even using Cody's own crossroads against him, showing he was willing to do anything to keep his reign intact. However, the action didn't stay confined to the ring. Interference from members of the Bloodline, such as Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, helped Reigns maintain control, but not without Rhodes putting up a fierce fight, even after a series of low blows and attacks from the Bloodline. Chaos ensued when legends like John Cena, The Rock, Seth Rollins and The Undertaker got involved, creating a scene filled with pure adrenaline and tension. However, it was after Rhodes finally overcame all odds and delivered 3 crossroads to Reigns that the victory was secured, ending the rivalry and taking Cody Rhodes to the top, becoming the new undisputed WWE Champion and completing his historic journey. Number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin is one of the most emblematic names in wrestling history, and his career with the WWE Championship is filled with legendary moments. His 6 reigns as champion helped shape the Attitude Era and define WWE during the 90s. Austin created a unique connection with the fans, building a phenomenon that few wrestlers have been able to replicate. Moments such as stealing Shawn Michaels' scepter, shaking hands with Vince McMahon over The Rock's fallen body, and his iconic victory on the most watched Raw of all time when he won the title marked his journey. Austin also made history at 3 WrestleManias, winning the championship each time. His charisma and popularity made him one of the most beloved champions, but we also saw another side of Austin when he turned heel. His rivalry with Kurt Angle, for example, is a point that has been underrated over time. While his heel phase was controversial, the quality of his work as champion was never compromised, which is why he stands ahead of other icons like Hulk Hogan. Unlike Hogan, who frequently used the title to promote himself, Austin was always seeking to take WWE and the championship to new heights. Number 2, Bret Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart was one of the greatest figures in WWE, especially when it comes to being a champion. He wasn't the champion known for big speeches or extravagant personalities, but rather the champion of pure wrestling. Bret guided WWE through some of its most turbulent phases, doing so with an unwavering dedication to the main title. What made Bret so great wasn't just his technical skill in the ring, but also how he brought out the best in all of his opponents, raising the level of competition. His first reign was relatively simple, starting with a win over Ric Flair in 1992, but he quickly showed his resilient character when he dislocated a finger during a match and put it back in place without losing his composure, something that would become a trademark of his career. Bret had a series of memorable reigns, but he was always a figure marked by adversity. He lost the title controversially to Yokozuna in a sequence where Hulk Hogan abruptly took the title from Yokozuna, which many remember as a setback for WWE. However, Bret bounced back and won the title again at WrestleMania 10 in an epic victory, before facing his brother Owen in a 5-star match at SummerSlam. After losing the title to Diesel, he regained it once again in a no disqualification match at Survivor Series 95. He passed the torch to Shawn Michaels, though this gesture was not reciprocated, and the final moment of his reigns, the infamous Montreal Screwjob, left an indelible mark on WWE history. Throughout his career, Bret proved to be a great champion, not because he was supported by the company, but for his ability to overcome obstacles and challenges, becoming an icon even when WWE seemed not to be on his side. Number 1, Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino is undoubtedly the greatest champion in WWE history, and his longevity at the top of wrestling is simply unmatched. He held the WWE Championship for an astounding 4,000 days, a record that seems impossible to break, but its significance goes beyond the numbers. When he defeated Buddy Rogers in just 48 seconds, Bruno not only became the second champion in WWE history, but also the first major star of the promotion. He was the face of WWE and was responsible for taking wrestling to new heights, selling out Madison Square Garden with a series of memorable matches. Bruno had significant rivalries with names like Killer Kowalski, Johnny Valentine, and Big Cat Ernie Ladd, and became a true icon of the sport. His journey had moments of great hardship, such as losing the title to Ivan Koloff, the first major defeat of his career, but he made an impressive comeback. A few years later, he returned to the top, defeating Stan Stasiak to become the first 2-time champion in history. During his second reign, he faced Stan Hansen in an intense rivalry, which included a significant injury, but Bruno stood firm and managed to defeat Hansen in a historic event. Even after the exhaustion from his injuries, Sammartino maintained respect for the title and handed it to Billy Graham before stepping away from the spotlight, leaving behind an eternal legacy. For many, Bruno Sammartino is not only the greatest WWE champion, but also the man who made the title what it is today. Which WWE champion do you think deserves the top spot on the list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. See you in the next one.